I'd say the best proffer that could be offered for this is barbed wire and machine gun turrets. This is a neighborhood that is having problems. One of the problems that deals with this area, specifically the elementary school capacity.
Finally, I want to give my notice of intent to appoint, for the Strategic Goal Task Force, for the Public Safety Task Force, Donna Wadowski, for the Economic Development and Transportation Task Force, Donald Hurst, and for the Human Services Task Force, Mr. Rob Ducaster.
I walk my Doberman with a loaded gun. Now, I don't walk with a loaded gun, and I think Mr. Latik's suggestion that machine gun turrets are needed might be a little bit overstated, but the barbed wire certainly isn't.
Prince William County recognizes the contributions of Hispanic Americans in our community. The board does hereby support September the 15th through October the 15th, 2008 as Hispanic Heritage Month in Prince William County. I noticed that 4.5% of the interviews were done in Spanish.
Yes.
And then do we know whether those persons were legal residents or not?
No, we do not ask.
All right.
One thing I can tell you that out of the 907 that were picked up by ICE, 48 have returned to the system.
Could you please explain that statement a little bit further?
Yeah. We put 1,016 detainers, 907 were picked up by ICE, and as we did some research, 48 have returned to our system in the last little over a year.
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Noy?
Okay, I'll make sure I get that right. 907 you placed 907 detainers, and of those 907, 48 have come back to the jail after getting detainers put on them.
Well, we put on 1,016 detainers. ICE has picked up 907, and 48 have returned to the Adult Detention Center.
So that would imply that those 48, either ICE, I mean, obviously our hope as a board would be that ICE would deport those folks. So either those folks weren't deported, or they were deported and able to return to the country.
That's a possibility, sure.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Chairman, just a brief.
Mr. May?
Do we know of those 48 what the reason for their returning to the system is? Is it local charges or is it outstanding immigration charges?
Local charges.
Okay.
Yes,
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Principe?
Do we have any feedback from ICE with regard to how many of the people that have been transferred into their custody have in fact been deported or have not been deported?
Mr. Principe, we do not have that information. We have asked, but ICE does not have it. Most of these people who leave our agency get transferred to other jails across the United States, so they don't have the information also.
And I just want to thank you on behalf of the citizens of the county for the excellent job you're doing.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Noy?
It's a question not so much for Colonel Melitas. I think it's probably a question for Mr. Fenton to look into. One thing that, I mean, the number of 48 folks that we've handed over to ICE end up back in our jail. I mean, those would be folks that if they were deported, they came back to this country, committed another crime, got caught again, and ended back in the same community. That number, and you know, that would imply that there's another percentage that came back to this country and didn't get caught for committing another crime and didn't get caught, or that not everyone's getting deported. I recognize that you said they can't give us those numbers, but I think we need to push to get numbers on what's actually happening to these folks that we're handing over to ICE. Because if we're handing them over and they're not, and they're somehow getting back to this jurisdiction and committing crimes again, then ICE isn't doing their job. And you know that's not in your control. You're doing your job, but I really think we need to push the federal government to get us some answers on that, because that's 5% that we've caught is bad. I mean, because that implies that there's a much bigger number that aren't committing crimes in Prince William County, but are back someplace in this country, or that they never left, and neither one is acceptable as far as I'm concerned.
Well, we all know. I mean, our border is like you're saying of a bad hockey goalie. It's a sieve, and it's porous. There's nothing we can do about that. But the one thing I will say about ICE, and I think we know this, and we have to say this, they are tremendously underfunded by Congress. And but we've got to admit, and I think we need to thank ICE for the excellent response when our jail was becoming overcrowded with the people they weren't picking up. That's picked up. They're doing it on a regular basis. It's no longer, they've alleviated the problem. And I just want to commend them publicly for stepping up to the plate here, at least in our county. Mr. Noe?
I'll commend them for picking them up, but I won't commend them for letting them come back to our community and commit more crimes. I can't commend them for that. I'm sorry.
Great. Thank you very much, Colonel.
Thank you.